Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Shankaracharya Maharaj Ji, pranam to you, and all adorations to the tradition of Vedic knowledge that you uphold together with the great saints and scholars of knowledge present today with us, and salutations to all the scientists and to all who are attending with us this supreme meeting of knowledge and technology to create a heavenly life on earth. 60 years ago, His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi left his blessed abode in the Himalayas and set to spiritually regenerate the world. He knew he had knowledge and technology that can remove all suffering, eliminate conflict, give enlightenment to every individual, and raise national and international life to perfection. Maharishi traveled all over the globe with a message of total knowledge, to awaken within everyone the light of pure consciousness, pure being, Atma. Atma vare trashtavya, srautavya, mantavya, niditya asitavyaha. Maharishi spread enlightenment in the name of his divine master, Sri Gurudev Brahmananda Saraswati, the illustrious Jagat Guru Shankaracharya of Jyotirmat. He tirelessly taught for over 50 years, offering all his tremendous success and world acclaim with reverence at the feet of Gurudev and the holy tradition of Vedic masters. The global name for Maharishi's teaching was Vedic science and technology. Millions of people from all walks of life, all religions, all levels of education and social status enjoyed and profoundly benefited from his Vedic science and technology. To all countries of our world, Maharishi gave inspiration, guidance, compassion, love, and unbounded care without restriction. Whether they believed in him or doubted him, apavitra pavitrova, he opened the door, knowing that a drop of the experience of Atma, transcendental experience, can cure of so many ills and put a person on the path to enlightenment. He looked at every individual as a living, walking Veda. Maharishi Vedic technologies were the approach that he has used, and all those who came to him were first simply taught to practice the most fundamental aspect of Maharishi's Vedic technologies of consciousness, which is transcendental meditation, so called because it allows the mind to directly go beyond all the changing relative fields of sensory experience and thought. Bhavatit Dhyan, or transcendental meditation, takes you directly to absolute pure consciousness, samadhi, giving the direct experience of Atma within one's own inner self. Those who learned were not looking for a new belief system or religion. They were with Maharishi because they personally experienced the profound, life-transforming effect of the Vedic technologies he taught. The teaching he was expounding fulfilled their quest for knowledge, not only on the intellectual and emotional level, but first and foremost on the direct experiential level. Maharishi never asked anyone to leave or distance themselves from their beliefs, religion, ways of living, or any other cultural, traditional, social values or habits. His approach was not to fight any darkness. Just bring the light and darkness disappears. And indeed, all those who practiced his Vedic science and technology saw their creativity rise and their health improve. They dropped negative and life-damaging behavior. Conflicts in their vicinity was reduced, and they enjoyed spontaneously living life in accordance with natural law. Tat sannidhau vairatyagaha. This was the result of gaining the fruit of all knowledge. By enlivening within one's consciousness the field of pure being, Atma, the light of life. Opening individual awareness to this field of Atma brings the light of pure knowledge and dispels the darkness of ignorance. Everyone's religion, belief, traditions, habits can then be understood in their full value from direct experience of the ultimate unity of pure being. Maharishi was fond of mentioning how a flower is beautiful in its leaves, its stem, its petals, and variety of colors and shapes, expressing in diverse ways the infinitely creative potential of natural law, with the sap, as the unified source of all the diverse aspects of a flower. Maharishi opened to everyone the ability to directly experience the unity at the basis of diversity of creation. In the same way as all expressions of diversity make together a beautiful flower, having one unified sap, the Atma of everything and everyone is like the sap, the unified reality underlying all diversity. Tattvamasi, sarvam kalvidam brahm, atmai vedam sarvam. In the simple experience of that unified state, all problems, enmity, and conflict disappear. Tat sannidhau vairatyagaha. To have fullness and richness of life, we have to water the root of life. Maharishi used to repeat, water the root to enjoy the fruit. His Vedic technologies, Bhavatit Dhyan, transcendental meditation, and a number of advanced techniques opened the awareness of everyone to Atma, the root of life, and developed in everyone the reality of Brahm, the fullness of life. Certainly, most non-Indian, but also a lot of Indian seekers of truth and enlightenment had no idea what Atma or Veda are. Maharishi taught everyone that Veda is total knowledge. Let's hear an excerpt about Veda in his own words.
The question is, at the basis of Vedic medicine is the discovery by His Majesty Rajaraam that Vedic sounds create both the cosmic body and the human body, creating, for example, both the sun and the solar system and a corresponding solar structure within the human brain. What is the significance of this cosmic and human correlation? And how is this information used to treat disease?
The nature of life is not only individual, it's not only cosmic, it is cosmic individual. So it's from here to there, from unmanifest to manifest. The whole thing is one nature of Atma. One nature of Atma. That is why the knowledge of Atma connects the individual with its cosmic potential. That is why the sum total of Vedic knowledge expresses itself in terms of I am totality, aham brahmasmi, I am totality. It expresses again, I am the universe, aham vishwam, aham vishwam, I am the universe. I am the universe. Again the third expression. I am Ved. Vedaham. Vedaham. So Vedaham, Aham Vishwam, Aham Brahm, Aham Shariram, I am the body, I am Aham Atma, I am Atma. So Aham Atma, I am the self, Aham Shariram, I am the body, Aham Ved, I am Ved. Ved means total knowledge, structure of total knowledge, that I am. And then Aham Vishwam, I am the universe. And then all these things total when I am, then I am totality, I am totality, I am totality. So it is our nature. The thing is, we have not been told by our parents or by our friends or by society or by our teachers. We have not been told that this is our heritage. This is our heritage, we have not been told. So now we are opening schools everywhere and all that to tell everyone that everyone is a huge, enormous field of lively possibility. Enormous field of lively possibility, and therefore one doesn't have to be satisfied with small things. No, 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 no. Hit high. Shoot the tiger, shoot the tiger. Don't waste time against these mosquitoes. Shoot the tiger. Hit the tiger. Cosmic. Have cosmic intelligence. Take your awareness to cosmic intelligence, and from there, cosmic creativity will uphold your thoughts, desires, your speech, your behavior, all your concerns. It's a very beautiful thing. It's a great joy. It's a great joy. How soon I wish I could establish all these campuses in different parts of the world for total knowledge, for total knowledge, for total knowledge, for total knowledge. Dr. Hagelin invite the wealthy through the press in order to invite us to open our schools, colleges, and they should build the buildings, and very soon, in 1 week, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, we should be able to bless the whole world.
Out of the unbounded richness of Vedic knowledge, Maharishi therefore first expounded Vedic technology, raising individual and collective consciousness. This is how the awareness opens to a greater field of knowledge and understanding. Theoretical understanding and intellectual analysis are more significant in the light of direct experience. It is important to taste the strawberry before one can truly describe what the taste of a strawberry is like. In knowledge, Maharshi started by giving the taste of supreme knowledge, samadhi, atma, pure consciousness, the home of total knowledge, the home of Veda. The understanding came after, and it came in greater fullness. Veda has an unfathomable number of layers of knowledge. It has many levels of descriptions of life and living, spirituality and paths to enlightenment. It covers all levels of intellectual, mental, sensory, behavioral, social, national, international realities. Veda contains natural, supernatural, physical, and metaphysical knowledge. It has been and continues to be an inspiration and source of great spirituality, religion, science, arts, philosophy, and all fields of human endeavor. This is why it is seen as extremely complex and has been open to a large variety of interpretations and commentaries. Let us hear one more short clip from Maharshi about Veda.
This question, Maharshi, is from the Indian Express in Mumbai. What is the exact role of the Vedas? What is the exact role that they play in your Vedic administration?
Veda is total knowledge. Success in action is based on amount of knowledge involved in action. Veda is total knowledge. So total knowledge of natural law will give a man total possibility for success in his action. So Veda is a kind of light, and in that light, no dark patches are expected. It's clear, shining light, the light of knowledge, knowledge. And in Sanskrit, this knowledge is contained in two words. One word is anoraniyan, finer than the finest, the point value of creation. And the other word is mahato mahiyan, bigger than the biggest. So from point of infinity to infinity, the whole range is the range of natural law, and that is the range of Veda. And Veda is Vedavani, this speech, which I just explained in terms of vowels and consonants and transformation of vowels into consonants. This is the mechanics of transformation of unmanifest into manifestation. Unmanifest and manifestation. Veda is total knowledge. Total knowledge is lively within the nature of self, Atma. So the self is there, Veda is there, and the Veda reverberations of speech, they accumulate as reverberations of physiology, and the physiology constitutes the body, and yatha pinde tatha brahmande, whatever are the mechanics of natural law that construct the body, the same mechanics of natural law construct the universe. So the self, the Veda, the body, the universe, and total of this is Brahm, totality. The sum up of everything, total. So Veda is knowledge, total knowledge, and total knowledge means knowledge of eternal, infinite silence and knowledge of eternal, infinite dynamism. two values, silence and dynamism, both from point level to infinity level. So point to infinity, field of silence, from point to infinity, the field of dynamism, and both these, knowledge of both these is Veda. That means if we have Vedic consciousness, if we have Veda lively in our awareness, then we are endowed with total field of natural law. Endowed with total field of natural law, we are endowed with the constitution of the universe. That is our speciality. The press would be very happy to locate us as the knowers of the constitution of the universe. That is the reason we are able to aspire for an administrative process through using the total field of natural law, which is the Veda, which is the constitution of the universe. Huge, infinite diversity of the galactic universe is the range of administration of natural law, and that is the range of administration based on constitution of the universe. And the whole constitution of the universe is contained in the first word of the Rig Veda. First word of Rig Veda is A. In this total constitution of the universe is contained. We derive, as an exercise of the Vedic expansion, we see totality is there in the first syllable, in the second syllable, same totality, third syllable. We derive the sequential development of Vedic knowledge from the structure of the Veda, the sound structure of the Veda, and we own it and own the mechanics of transformation on the basis of what we want to achieve in the world. And this is the Yajna system, and this is the Grahashanti system, and this is Indian culture. You culture consciousness, and this is the Indian system of culturing consciousness, so that the consciousness is fully awake in the field of total knowledge, endowed with total organizing power. That is our speciality, and the press will always feel proud of this knowledge being available in the human awareness. Now, this is the generation. Total knowledge of natural law, total knowledge of the constitution of the universe is completely available, and on that basis we aspire to transform the world into a very beautiful, peaceful, happy world forever. Press is very fortunate to have this kind of confidence in our generation that the whole future of mankind is being ensured, just like any insurance policy, no? Is being ensured for permanent peace, happiness, all good, no?
Maharshi's profound understanding of Veda as the constitution of the universe led him to a reflection. He said in a reply to a question in 1971 about how he sees Veda and how Veda came about to be as he describes it. he says, and I quote, "One thing was in my mind, that if Veda is that perfect knowledge on the basis of which all this creation has been structured, and all the processes of evolution have been based, then the sequence of expression in the Veda must also have a great meaning." This was the idea. If the knowledge is so perfect, exposition of knowledge must necessarily be perfect, must unmistakably be in proper sequence. And if the sequence is perfect, then the very first expression must give the full value of knowledge. Second, third, fourth, following expressions can only be commentary on the first expression. Like a seed must contain the whole tree, sprout also contains the whole tree. The expansion in sequence at every stage has the wholeness of the tree. And this led me, Maharshi says, to dig deep into the value of Agni. And then that led me to dig deep into the value of A, and a peep into the structure of A just convinced me that the first syllable is the totality of knowledge. Maharshi went therefore deeply into the structure of Veda because he felt the structure of a perfect knowledge must be itself perfect. He looked beyond the meaning of words and syllables and focused on the vibrational value, the sound value. He also brought to light the importance of the mechanisms of transformation of one sound into another and pointed to the gaps between sounds, the sandhis, as the place where the transformation happens. He associated this transformation with Brahmana. Therefore, Veda is both sound, mantra, and the transformation within the gaps, the Brahmana value. Mantra Brahmanayor Vedanam Dheyam. What we call Veda is both mantra and Brahmana. He brought to light that Chaitana, pure consciousness, is silence and dynamism. Veda is the expression of this infinite silence and infinite dynamism. The gaps or sandhis between the aksharas, between the syllables, represent silence in which the mechanics of transformation take place. The mechanics of transformations are the field of Deva, the laws of nature that administer the universe. And the syllables themselves, Shruti, the richas, the actual vibrations of sound, represent the dynamism within the absolute pure existence of Satchit Ananda. Where, therefore, are these richas? Where do they reside? Where do the Deva reside? The silence and the dynamism. Richo akshare parame vyoman yasmin deva adivishve nishedu yastanna veda kim richa karishyati ya ittad vidusta ime samasate. The akshara, the sounds, the richas reside in parame vyoman. The sounds of the Veda reside in the unmanifest field, in the collapse of A to Ka. Therefore, Maharshi took the vibrational sounds. When you say A, you open the mouth completely. It's a fullness of expression. When you say K, Ka is when the sound is choked in the throat. It's the stop point. So from A, absolute fullness, to K, Ka, point value, is the range of Veda. When Maharshi looked at the first word of Veda, Agnim, It is Agnim because it's Sandhi, he said. There is a Sandhi. When you put the Ka in front of a Na, it becomes Ga. But within the word is actually A to Ka. So from absolute fullness to point value is the totality of Veda. And therefore the first syllable of Rig Veda already is totality. And the entire Veda, Maharishi says, is a commentary on that totality. In this way, Maharishi analyzed and commented on all aksharas, richas, and sutras from their sound value and the silence in the gaps between the sounds. He further brought to light the significance of the Veda from the perspective of the sequence and structure of those sounds. This is what he called the structure of Veda. Veda, therefore, in its most fundamental aspect, is not a treatise or a philosophical teaching. Veda is, in its structure, the structure of the laws of nature. It expresses the structure of the universe. It is the template on which the universe is built. Veda is the blueprint of creation. On a structural level, Veda is the constitution of the universe. On this basis, Maharishi discovered that Rig Veda sequentially unfolds in perfect order, commenting on itself. As we said, the first vowel A collapses into Ka, and then because of the Sandhi becomes Ga. It is followed by a negation of the collapse through Na, which allows further elaboration to emerge with E, the sound E that leads. E represents the quality that leads into more and more detailed commentary on totality, which includes wholeness and its point. Therefore, A to Ka to Na to E represent wholeness of natural law, total knowledge, the field of transformation from oneness to multiplicity. A, Ka, Na, I, Agni, the first word of Rig Veda. From the first syllable of the first word to the first richa, the first sukta, mandala, and the entire Rig Veda, Maharishi has shown the perfect sequence and structure of Veda. Sequence and structure of natural law. He called it, his description of the structure, Nitya Apaurushaya Bhashya of Rig Veda, eternal, uncreated commentary of Veda on itself. And what we mean by structure is how many padas in the first richa, 3, how many richas in the first sukta, we have 9. So these numbers, these actual numbers, constitute what we call structure. So we are not looking at Veda from a perspective of what is its meaning. Of course, its meaning is extremely important and valuable, but from its sound value, the importance of its sound, and its sound creating an effect on individuals and society and the world, from the vibrational level, and its structure as a way to analyze its scientific value, as we will discuss in this discussion today and in other talks that will be given during this conference. So Maharishi further analysis and cognition highlighted that there is one aspect that is a reality of knowledge. Knowledge, which is Veda, is, Maharishi says, the coming together of 3 values: the knower, the object of knowledge, and the process that connects the object to the subject. If you know something, if you're conscious of something, you must be a subject that is conscious of something, a thought or an object. And there must be something that connects you to that object. If any of these three is missing, there is no knowledge. If you are in a room and there is a flower and you are there, but the room is dark, so there is no connection between you and the flower, you cannot see the flower. Then you have no knowledge of the flower. If the flower is there in the room without a knower, then there is no knowledge of the flower. And if the knower is there in a very nice room, but there is no flower, then there is no knowledge of the flower. So consciousness, to be conscious, a bit of consciousness, an experience of consciousness, requires these three values. He brought to light in a very profound way that in Veda the knower is Rishi, the process of knowing is Devata, and the known or the object of knowledge is Chandas. Knowledge, therefore, is the togetherness of Rishi, Devata, and Chandas. Knowledge is Samhita, is the togetherness of Rishi, Devata, and Chandas. Rig Veda is supreme Samhita, a supreme knowledge. Samaved is also Samhita, but seen from the perspective of the flowing wakefulness of the knower. Yajurved is Samhita, but from the perspective of the process of knowing, the transformation value of offering and creating. And Atharvaved is Samhita from the perspective of the reverberating wholeness of the object of knowing. In this manner, Maharishi organized the age-old Veda and the scattered Vedic literature into a perfect science. All aspects of the Vedic literature are part of a perfect science of the unmanifest and all manifestations. All aspects having profound applications in all fields, and all are based on sound and silence, on structure and function. This chart, which he has produced, Maharishi produced, shows what he describes in summary as the 40 aspects of Veda and Vedic literature. It starts from Atma, then you can see Rig Veda as the holistic Samhita, and then all the other aspects divided into 3 columns, one for Rishi, one for Devata, and one for Chandas, then Samaved, Yajurved, Atharvaved, and then you have the Vedangas, Shiksha, Kalp, Vyakaran, Niruk, Chan, Jyotish, that form a loop within the structures. The Upangas, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, Yoga, Karma, Mimamsa, Vedanta, and then you have the Upavedas, Gandharva Ved, Dhanurved, Sapatya Ved, and the different books of Ayurveda. And then the Brahmanas, Upanishad, Aranyak, Brahmana, Itihas, Puran, Smriti. And Maharishi gave a final value to the Pratishakyas that put together all of these values. Looking at all of this from, again, a very scientific perspective. We have heard from Maharishi, as he expressed in his tape that we have listened to, Vedoham, Tattvamasi, Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, as is the atom, so is the universe. And these expressions, Maharishi did not take in an allegoric or inspirational way. He took them literally. He said the human physiology, Vedoham, Aham Shariram, that means even the body, the human physiology, is a true embodiment of Veda. This is why our human nervous system and the entire physiology can function in such a high level of integration that it would allow the individual human being to experience Atma and Brahm. And I am Atma Brahm, therefore we are the embodiment of Veda, Vedoham. Having reviewed in a very succinct way the fundamentals of Maharishi's Vedic science and technology, let us now ask, how can we approach all this from a scientific perspective? In pious, religious, and spiritual pursuit, the seeker generally surrenders to the teacher as representing the divine will and accepts the destiny and the will of God. There is usually no questioning about the authenticity of the teaching. We are, however, talking about science. And in science, everything is questioned. In our world today, there are many assumptions and many theories about reality, illusion, existence, natural law, and the administration of life and the universe. There are many worldviews and philosophical treatises. Is Veda just another one of them? What is the evidence that what Maharishi says is true or correct? Veda and its richness lends itself to all kinds of interpretations. As we know, it can be the basis of spirituality, religion, philosophy, health, architecture, and all fields of natural law. Maharishi presents Veda as science. Science is a systematic method that can differentiate reality from fantasy. Maharishi invited scientists to perform the most rigorous scientific analysis of Veda and Vedic literature on both the theoretical as well as the practical levels. Science requires a framework, a logical, tangible explanation that would support any theory. And then it requires experimentation to prove that the theories actually make sense. In science, every theory and finding are compared with what is observed and known to be objectively factual. Science derives its conclusions from objective measurements and analysis. The theories behind science, however, are most of the time derived from human thinking and human intuition. Therefore, the theories are in essence of subjective origin, since the theories emerge in the minds and the intellects of scientists and other thinkers. In this context, it has been actually bewildering to think, how can a scientist in his or her own mind create theories that actually fit the way the universe works? How is it possible that we can figure out the mechanics of functioning of the universe and its laws? The declaration that every individual is the embodiment of natural law and has access through his or her consciousness to natural law could answer this question, and indeed it is the most tangible answer to this question. But do we have any further evidence that the individual is the embodiment of natural law? Veda as a science is extreme in that it does not depend on any experimentation. Veda is not the result of laboratory analysis. It is fully subjective. It is pure cognition by the rishis. To look at Veda scientifically, however, and therefore we have to have a framework that can explain how and from where Veda emerges. It is necessary to have a framework also that can explain what Atma is. Does Maharshi's Apaurushaya Bhashya of Rigved make sense? Does Maharshi's emphasis on structure of Veda and its function has any correlate in nature? If it is the constitution of the universe and the blueprint of creation, is it reflected anywhere in the manifest creation? What are consciousness, Rishi, Devata, Chandas, and Samhita? To be scientific, the technology of Veda has also to be subjected to experimental scrutiny, and its effectiveness has to be proven or disproven through research. It is a great blessing that today we have the greatest scholars of Veda, the luminaries and great custodians of the Vedic literature, all present here with us. And together with them, we have some of the most prominent scientists of our world who looked at Veda with the microscope of the scientific, objective approach to knowledge. Together, we will explore various facets of the infinitely rich Veda and Vedic literature, and our scientists will give the most rigorous evidence of the authenticity of Veda on theoretical as well as practical levels. Let me begin by highlighting a few key features, some of which will be greatly elaborated during this conference. On this chart, you see on the top a group of people. It's a society. We ask what the society is made of. It's made out of individual. What is an individual? Made out of organ systems and organs, and as you go deep, maybe you cannot read from a distance, but this is what it shows, that we go deeper and deeper to the level of the cell, and then the molecules, the atoms, and then we come to the whole physical field of the forces of nature that Dr. Hagelin will explain to us in great detail, leading us to a unified field of natural law. This unified field of natural law is Atma. Therefore, this is what gives us the framework from a scientific perspective, that there is a reality which is unified, which is absolute, which is unbounded, which is beyond time and space, that is the source of all aspects of the reality. And Raja Hagelin, Dr. Hagelin, will tell us more about this. The transcendental meditation, one closes the eyes and allows the mind to rest and goes to a deep level of silence. In that deep silence, one experiences Atma, pure consciousness, pure being. Therefore, one can reach that unified field of natural law. The reverberation within that unified field of natural law are the basic laws of nature. If we can experience them, that is what Veda is. Therefore, we have a framework, and more will be talked about in the discussions that will be coming during this great 3 days. There is a theory which, based on Maharshi's knowledge, I have developed into mathematics, now being worked out, and there is already an article preprint, that will allow us to actually quantify experience of consciousness. Quantify what consciousness is in its infinite dynamism value and in its infinite silence value, starting from the fact that consciousness is pure existence, and to be conscious, there is a requirement for an observer, a process of observation and an observed, and how this differentiates into the multiplicity of the universe, and how it creates silence and dynamism. This allowed, as the theory developed, to understand actually what, for example, an individual soul is, and therefore you can have a formula, a mathematical formula, for what is jiva, what is ahamkar, what is buddhi, what is manas. We can even have a formula for what is purushottama, what is purusha, what is prakriti, what is shiva. In all of these incredible varieties of complex interactions within consciousness, one naturally finds, and it naturally emerges, that all the values described in Veda are real values that can be quantified and can have actually an equation in mathematics that will define them. Now, science itself has its own limitations. Science doesn't really truly discover things. It's the scientists that discover things. Scientists go in their mind, they have an intuition, they have a thought, and then they try to show it that it works in the real world. Now, science has its limitation also because of its instruments. If its instruments are profound and advanced and can look at the deeper values of the atom and the molecules, then it gives you more knowledge about reality, and that's how we went from the classical perception of the world to the quantum mechanical, and now to the level of consciousness, and also in cosmology. Human mind is also the same. We have an instrument. Our instrument is the brain. If this instrument is pure and perfect, it will be able to know more and experience more about reality. The question comes, what is this instrument made of? How it is constructed? And this is where the research that Maharishi has asked me to do under his guidance led to the reality that all of the Veda is actually structured in our human physiology. Therefore, this instrument that we have, which is our body, it's our instrument, like science has a microscope and has a telescope. We have a brain, we have a nervous system, and that is our instrument. With this instrument, what can we see? We can see the unified field. We can see totality. We can see Veda. This is how the rishis experienced Veda. Now, let's see if this worked. And therefore, we took Maharshi's knowledge and experience of how he described Veda. And it's not on the level of the interpretation of Veda, meaning that this is a philosophical understanding. It's purely the structure. It's something that is not open to commentary and interpretation. This is how many syllables are in the first pada and the first richa. These are how many syllables are in the second, how many suktas are in Rig Veda. A very precise structural analysis. And the discovery was amazing. This chart that we see shows that all our nervous system is based on Rig Veda. Every nerve and every activity of the nerve, inhibitory, excitatory, going in, going out, the numbers and how they work are like Veda. So our body is constructed on the basis of an architectural design which is Veda. Veda is therefore a plan, a blueprint in which our body was made. Not only Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Adharva Veda, all the Vedic literature, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran, they are within our physiology. Of course, we cannot, in this short meeting, look at all of this, and they've been printed into 5 books right now on this different levels of the body, of the cell. But we can take a few examples. For example, yoga has 4 chapters. They correspond to the 4 lobes of the brain in their basic structure and function. And even when we look at the sutras within yoga, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we found that they fit on the different aspects of brain activity and what they are. Take Nyaya, for example. Nyaya has these 16 values, pramana, prameya, samshaya, etc., that define the functioning of Nyaya. And Nyaya Maharshi describes as the lamp at the door, which lights the inside and lights the outside. In the brain, there is a structure called the thalamus. It's sitting in the middle of the brain. It connects the outside world to the inner world of experience and thought and memory. And this is exactly like the lamp at the door. The structure of Nyaya, the value of Nyaya, the 16 values of Nyaya are exactly present in the 16 nuclei of the thalamus. Therefore, Nyaya is within our brain. It's actually pramana is there, prameya is there, sanshaya is there. Everyone is an actual physical nucleus, and precisely that, not one more, not one less. It's an exact replica of Veda. And this has been analyzed in great detail. Now, Maharishi wanted me to look at the Ramayana also, and all the dynamics of Ramayana, what happens in the story of Ramayana. All the rishis, all the devas, all the incarnations, all the people, all the rivers, all the trees, all the forests that are in Ramayana are actually in our physiology, and they are really the functioning and progress and development of our physiology is based on that structure, on that value of Ramayana, from childhood till one reaches enlightenment, full enlightenment on the individual level, is Ram Raj on the level of society. This is when wholeness takes over. This is when Ram, totality, representing wholeness, takes over and puts balance in society. And that happens within our human physiology. It happens within our societies at different levels in different times. So it happens on so many different levels. This is because Veda, Ramayana, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, they're talking about natural law. In the story, they appear as a king, as a queen, as a rishi. in our body, they appear as physical structures that have dynamisms and dynamics that are exactly as described in the Ramayana. Again, time doesn't allow, and it's not the point to go in each one of them, but we can see where Ram is. We can see that even the river Sarayu is there. This is the cerebral brain, middle cerebral vein, and funnily enough, it also looks like Sarayu. If you can see the resemblance. So, in the study of Ramayana, there are also different aspects, where it's earth, humanity, rishis, heaven, and they belong to different parts. So the ministers of Dasharat are there, the informants are there, Ram's quiver and Ram's arrows and Ram's bow are there. They are represented in the vertebral column. The arrows are represented in the nerves that go out and then bring back feedback information. This is why the arrow of Ram came back to the quiver. It means it's giving him back feedback information, and the feedback information is a very powerful and important aspect of our physiological functioning. Mahalakshmi is there, and its 4 hands in the heart, and we can see that its division into Rama and Radha are also there, right heart, left heart, the dark side, the darker color, the brighter color, they are all there. Everything is in our physiology. I actually looked even at because the heart and the feeding and the nourishing value is in the arterial system, and it turns out that all the queens and the ladies in the Ramayana are in the actual arteries, represent the arteries. So I looked at the genealogy of all the ladies in the Vedic literature, not only the Ramayana, but Mahabharata, and it's a huge genealogy, and there is a family tree. You can tell which lady was born to which mother brought what is the grandmother and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren from the lady's perspective. And you find that it's absolutely exactly describing the branches of the arterial system in our body. And therefore, every artery in our body has a name that is actually a Vedic name that is present in the Vedic literature. We can also see the relationships between them. Where is Lanka? Where is Ayodhya? What are these mothers of like Devavarani is the mother of Kuber, and Kirikashi is the mother of Ravana, etc. Raka is the mother of Dushana, and like that. And they are related. And therefore, you can see them related. They are related. They correspond to the cerebellar area, which has 10 lobes that correspond to the 10 heads of Ravana. And like that, we see that every description in the Ramayana is actually a powerful aspect of natural law that has been embodied in our own human physiology. There is Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrugna, all the values of, the descendants. Kashyapa was the ancestor of Dasharat. Dasharat is the ancestor of Ram. Why is that so? One can see this, learn this, and finds it. All the rishis are there. And when you map them, you map these rishis, this is where they end up being in an aspect of the physiology. Of course, we have Hanuman in the hormonal system, and we understand why Vali and Sugriva are the kings of the monkeys, they call them, but it's the supreme values and the relationship between them. All of these values, the Nala Setu, the bridge, is there to Lanka. And it crosses the river, and it crosses an ocean, which is a ventricular, cerebellar ventricle in the brain. And like this, Ravana with his heads and his descriptions, the arms, Kumbhakarana, Vibhishana, and all of these are in our human physiology. Once I've done this research, Maharishi got interested to see the path of Ram. He said there is one great saint of India who has actually described where did Ram go in India. And so this is roughly the path of Ram through the Ramayana as you see it. And he told me, you must look now if this final test of your study, in any way, does it resemble the path of Ram in India? So that was an amazing finding. Because it actually, this is on the right side, you see the brainstem, brain area, and on the left side, of course, the map of India, and these points are the places where Ram has spent, and you can see that there is actually quite an accurate resemblance in the different places of the brain that are activated through the story of Ramayana as compared to even the path of Ram in the story, in the reality of the history of Ram in India. In this way also, all the devatas are in our human physiology. We can see Ganeshji, we can see the ears, we can see the trunk, we can see the head, the eyes. They are all within us. We are truly an embodiment of Veda from its total perspective. That is why Yathapinde Brahmanande. Yathapinde Tatha Brahmande. And therefore, looking even at the planets in our solar system, we find that they are in the basal ganglia in our brain. And the functions that Jyotish gives to these planets are similar, almost exact description of the functions of those structures that are within our brain. So natural law manifests itself in all of these layers. We can see it in the cell, not only in the huge physiology, and we can see it in the depths of the reality of every aspect of our body, the DNA and the molecules. This is at the level even of the molecular level, and the relationship between the nakshatras, 27 nakshatras, and their counterparts in the 27 amino acids in our body. And this chart puts the nakshatras over the amino acids, showing that this reality of nakshatras is actually present in every cell of our body. I want to complete this by saying there are many more research that will be presented during this meeting, and they will highlight very profound values of the technologies. This is the theoretical part, that more will be talked on the theoretical part, and there is the technologies of Veda and their importance in creating heaven on earth. Vedic technologies saved human life of all faith, all belief systems. Human, non-human, and even the environment were brought back to balance and harmony through Vedic technologies. This is because Veda is universally true and life-supporting for everyone and everything, and because life is based on bliss and fullness. Anandadhyeva kalvimani bhutani jayanti. Anandena jatani jivanti. Anandam pranti abhisham vishantiti. India can be proud of its heritage and all the facets and applications of this heritage in so many ways: spiritual, religious, social, self-development, and for national strength and invincibility. In all manners and ways, Veda can be celebrated. It is a perfect holistic science, a practical, useful science for all life on earth. Ideal Vedic India means India based on Veda, total knowledge. In darkness, people stumble on each other, are afraid of each other, hurt themselves and others. In the light of Veda, the path is clear, and the experience of unity at the basis of all diversity dispels all fear. Knowledge is like light, it dispels darkness. Veda, total knowledge, dispels all darkness. Veda is not a belief system. It is useful and effective whether you believe in it or not. One does not even have to know how it works. You do not need to know how electricity is produced to enjoy light by flipping the light switch. This is the miracle of Veda as a supreme science. Electricity works and lights the homes of Hindus, whether they are Advaitic or Dvaitic, whether they worship Shiva or Vishnu, study Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, or Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran. Electricity at home works for Buddhists, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and all other religions and sects. It is because electricity is harnessing a universal law of nature in the electromagnetic field. The same is true for Veda. Atma is the unified field of all the laws of nature. India is the blessed, proud land that has cognized Veda. Or it would be more accurate to say India is the fortunate land where Veda itself decided to be known and to be taught. Still, Veda is not only Indian. It is not because Newton described the forces of attraction and motion that these forces become English. Veda is universal natural law. And although we stand in great humility, respect, and admiration in front of the great Indian scholars and pundits who have maintained this knowledge for centuries, we are also proud, like everyone should be, to be ourselves the embodiment of Veda. We celebrate with all of you today the living, breathing, walking Veda in every human being, and invite everyone from every walk of life to join in this celebration of fullness. Let no religion be threatened by science. All religions have truth in them and have been adapted and interpreted by their followers to the needs of the time and the evolution of life on earth. The will of God is God's creation. In science, we speak about natural law. If we want to speak in religious terms, we would say the will of God. The will of God can be found in what God created and how He thought His creation. We find all luminaries, teachers, prophets of all religion saying the same things. All this is totality. This is the Upanishad. Thou art that. Yatha pinde tatha brahmande, vedoham aham brahmasmi. In the Tao, the nature of heaven belongs to man. In the Bible, God created man in His own image. In the New Testament, the kingdom of heaven is within you. In the Quran, and on earth are signs of God for those of assured faith. They are within you. Do you not perceive them? Also in the Quran it says, I am closer to you than your own jugular vein. And the Prophet Ali said, and you consider yourself to be a small atom, yet the whole universe is folded within you. It's the same thing. Veda is science and technology, subjective and objective, relative and absolute. And therefore, this is what a human being is. A human being is the embodiment of natural law. We just saw that on all levels, consciousness, molecule, cell, and physiology, we are the embodiment of Veda. Veda is for perfection in individual and social life. Veda is for everyone. Veda is everyone. Most of us attending this conference know the value of Veda from one angle or the other. Let us not only celebrate the precious gift of Veda and what it is, and what it has given us. Like the engineers and technicians who know the secret of electricity and know how to spread it to bring light to every home for the benefits of all, let us in this conference not only be the seekers of knowledge, but the engineers and technicians of knowledge, whose joy and fulfillment comes from spreading Veda, the light of supreme knowledge, the light of life for all mankind. Let us share the precious gifts of Veda with the whole population to raise Veda Bhumi Bharat to perfection, and through India shine peace, prosperity, and happiness to the whole world. All glory to the holy tradition of Vedic masters. Jai Guru Dev.